Welcome, all of you thrill seekers, coaster enthusiasts, and theme park aficionados to the Attractions Group podcast Pick Six. I'm Ryan Sir.
I'm Don Helbig. The Attractions Group podcast Pick Six is your go to source for the latest news and stories in the ever evolving world of the attractions industry.
From breaking industry developments to behind the scenes insight, we've got you covered. So grab your virtual fast pass and get ready to a thrilling ride through the episode of the Attractions Group podcast Pick Six.
All right, Ryan, start the chain lift and get this episode underway.
All right. Disney's Paradise Pier Hotel. This is story number one. At the Disneyland Resort in Anaheim, California, is scheduled to reopen January 30th as a new Pixar Place hotel following the overhaul. The reimagined hotel will feature themed areas around Pixar movies, including The Incredibles and Toy Story, as well as Finding Nemo inspired pool area and splash pad. I have not been to Disneyland yet. Can you believe that?
Never been to Disneyland. Well, you definitely have to go. And this hotel, I think when it opens in January, at the end of January, it's going to be a lot of fun for kids and families that were fans of shows like The Incredibles, Toy Story. That's got my attention. Love Toy Story, so I would find that of interest. Finding Nemo, so a lot of cool things there.
Yeah, the park definitely looks cool, and I've heard that comparatively, Walt Disney World has more stuff, but the comparative, like, apples to apples things, like, often Disneyland has the better stuff, so very, very cool, exciting. Alright, what's next?
Story number two on the pick six. 1 year after announcing King's Dominion would stay open to guests all year, the Doswell, Virginia amusement park notified guests of an important change in 2024. Now, the park that IAPA Hall of Fame member Dennis Spiegel built has transitioned back to a more seasonal schedule. They'll open now in the spring. March 23rd will be the opening date, and will shut down after Winterfest instead of being open on a year-long basis. Now, this is a significant change from last year, especially for pass holders. In October 2022, the park announced it would stay open additional weekends in January, February, and March 2023. So, naturally, Ryan, when you look at social media and that, a little bit of disappointment there from guests of not only King's Dominion, but also Carowinds and Great America out in California. Those parks also are going back to the normal schedule that they had.
Yeah, so I wanted to say I saw this coming, but I thought that they would, like, give it another go for another year, uh, but it's all the accounts I've heard was it was a ghost town and no one was there. And then I know that King's Dominion had like one like Indian summer, like on a Saturday, and it was like packed like in February or something. But from a business standpoint, I feel like it made all the sense in the world. In fact, I had heard rumors that they were thinking about doing it at Kings Island, and I that's the last thing on earth I would want because I feel like we would be operating a 6 month or a 12-month park on a 6-month budget. And that seems like it's what happened, at least with King's Dominion. I mean, King's Dominion hasn't had a show in their big theater in a while, you know? So, the one critique that I do have, again, I think this decision was the correct thing to do. Why didn't they tell people before the season passes went on sale? I feel like there was a plurality of people that either bought or renewed their passes, um, assuming that they were getting a 12-month season when in fact they're not. Uh, that I really wish that they would have timed that better.
Ryan, I agree there. That's kind of been the sentiment that I see when I look at the social media post for King's Dominion, Carowinds, California's Great America, is that, why are you announcing this now? Why are we learning about it, this late into the fall? But, like you said, there's reasons for it. You got to give them credit for giving it a try. And, it was a bold move to do it and go to, the weekends in January, February, and March and go to that year-round, operating calendar. So, very bold move, but it just didn't work out.
It didn't work out. And many would argue, like especially at places like King's Dominion, that it doesn't have the weather that's necessary to support that. But uh, in an article I read by themeparksbydon.com, they pointed out that Busch Gardens Williamsburg, which is what, 71 miles down the road, they're continuing their year-round operations. What do you think's different?
They are, and I think, part of that too is maybe it's the offerings that, the 2 parks had. You had a lot more rides, a lot more restaurants, a lot more things to do at Busch Gardens than you did at Kings Dominion, so that maybe plays, a part in that, is what the offerings were.
Yeah, I agree. And honestly, for people that are really into the parks, people like you and me and several others, I'd enjoy just going there and walking around in January or whatever with very little to do, but I am not in the majority. Um, Again, I feel like that it would have been a leech on the budget for the core season. I think that, uh, at any other park, what it would have done is it would have taken away from the operating budget of when it's pleasant to be there, when it's warm, when the things can be open. Um, but at places like, especially Carowinds, they dipped their toe in, but they didn't dive in, and that was the problem in itself. If you only have one major ride open and they rotate every month or whatever, no one's gonna buy a ticket for that.
No, and I think guests when they go to a park, they're kind of, they know what the park is like in the summer. They know what it's like during the Halloween season, and even during the Winterfest, events. They know what rides are open and how many are. And when you don't have that same number, at least of what you had at Winterfest open in January, February, and March, that's going to be a disappointment to those that visit at that time of the year.
Yeah, I mean, so the real question, and we can debate this forever, is who were they trying to attract? Because I imagine season pass people would go, but I also imagine season pass would be the only people to go. Because why would you buy a ticket for a park when most of the major attractions are closed, unless you happen to be there in Richmond in February or something? I don't understand the logic. I think that it could be doable, but I think that the park would have to be firing on all cylinders. There would have had to been far more of a conceited effort to have events and things like that to get it in front of people and to remind them that it's open. None of this came to fruition, and it failed because of a lack of trying. Let's be honest here.
All right, what's next?
Okay. So, Walt Disney World Resort in Orlando, Florida has unveiled its lineup of events for the holiday season. A new event called Jollywood Nights will launch November 11th at Disney's Hollywood Studios, one of my favorite parks. While the new Frozen Holiday Surprise Night Show will debut November 7th at Disney's Magic Kingdom. Disney's Epcot will bring back its Festival of the Holidays event November 24th. I've never been to Disney during well, okay, I've been there during the early holidays, like like IAPA time, late November, but I've never actually gone to like the Disney parks. I've been to Disney Springs, but I gotta check that out sometime.
It's a magical time. My favorite time to visit the Disney parks is in the month of December, as you're getting close to Christmas. Um, they really do it well. I like the different events that they're putting out there. Jollywood Nights at Hollywood Studios sounds good. Frozen Holiday Surprise, that show that's going to debut at Magic Kingdom should be spectacular. And Epcot is bringing back a popular event, which was the Festival of the Holidays. So they have some staple events that guests are used to, and they have some new ones that they're bringing in. But they do it right. They do it well. And I'd highly recommend checking out Walt Disney World during the holidays. It's the best time of year to go, in my opinion.
Yeah. All right. What's next?
The first piece of track for the Lehigh Valley First Dive Coaster. It arrived at Dorney Park. The piece of track is for Iron Menace, which is the first new coaster built at Dorney Park in 19 years. You see people complaining at different parks, we haven't got a coaster for a year or 2 years. Dorney Park, 19 years
Hmm.
between coasters, and it's going to be a fantastic one. The first piece of track that arrived on the site was a portion of the station. It represents the first of 68 truckloads of steel track. Now, these 68 truckloads are, being delivered from Batavia, Ohio, to Dorney Park. Um, so when the track was secured on the site where the coaster will be built, team members from the park, they draped a Philadelphia Phillies flag on the piece of track, confirming that Iron Menace is in fact a Phillies fan. Now the team members, like the Phillies, they're going to be watching the World Series on TV.
Oh, yeah, yeah. That's that's brutal, Don. But yeah, hats off to Dorney Park. It's going to be a fantastic ride. We're really excited about it. First piece of track is always super exciting. I remember when the first piece of track arrived every time at
Yeah,
Kings
I
Island.
I think, Ryan, that this has got a chance to be the top dive coaster out there, just with the theming elements of it. The location, I think, is gonna the setting's gonna be really good there. Really excited to see this ride built and to give uh, the guests that have been visiting Dorney Park for years in that Lehigh Valley area, giving them their first coaster in 19 years. They deserve it, and they're going to get a good one.
Yep. So very happy for them. All right.
Next,
Yeah. So number, what is this? 5. So two flat rides at Six Flags Great America will be closing for good after this weekend. The two departing rides in Gurnee, Illinois Park are the Mardi Gras Hangover. That's a heck of a ride, which is a Larson Loop attraction. Larson Loops are young rides to be getting rid of. That's weird.
they are.
Which it debuted in 2018, so it's what 5 years old at the as of this recording. And Revolution, a Who's Frisbee, they opened 2004 in County Fair, uh, and that's going to be relocated to Six Flags Great Adventure. I was gonna say, like the Who's Frisbee that I like to ride, I really enjoy. So I'd hate to see that because it's just about the same age, but it's not getting removed; it's getting relocated. Uh, guess that
No,
it.
that was actually relocated from Six Flags
Oh, it
Great
was.
Adventure.
Oh,
Yeah, so it had been around
oh.
before.
So it is getting scrapped then. Oh
Yes, it
wow.
appears to be. It appears to be the case. We
Okay.
don't know for
Yeah,
sure,
we
but
don't know
that
for
appears to
sure,
be
but
it.
as the story reads now. So, guests that have retained their Six Flags membership anywhere between the Gold and Plus and Diamond Elite VIP level will have one last chance to ride both attractions this Sunday from 11 a.m. to noon. The two rides will open to all guests after 12 p.m. Neither attraction's closure comes as much of a surprise. Mardi Gras Hangover has rarely operated this season, and Revolution will soon uh, become su- superfluous. I wasn't ready for that word, superfluous, with the upcoming addition of a taller, similar pendulum ride, Sky Striker, for the 2024 season. Six Flags Great America had also hinted the closures during the Fright Fest event, amid tombstones listing defunct attractions from the park's history, with an unmarked grave listing the years of 2004 and 2018. That would pretty much give it away.
Well, it would, and like I said, it wasn't much of a secret. I do like the fact that they're giving the Gold Plus and Diamond Elite VIP level pass holders, one last chance to ride first before everyone else in the park can. I think that's a nice little perk. But they got some cool things, going on there. They've added some nice rides in recent years, and what they're doing next year. So, just one of those things that maybe guests vote with their feet, and it's time to move on from these attractions.
Yeah, I mean the Who's Frisbee, I imagine probably had. I mean, some of the older Who's rides from that period had a lot of maintenance issues and stuff, but the Larson loop is one. It's kind of a one and done for a lot of people. Larson makes some great stuff, but that loop is kind of it's a fair ride. Um, and I mean that as in fair as in decent and fair as in like carnival. But it's it takes a long time to load and unload. I think if people see any line whatsoever, they're just like, "Yeah, I'm not doing that." That probably had a lot to do with it, but out with the old, in with the new. They're getting a new pendulum ride, which I'm sure will be fantastic.
And the sixth and final of the pick six, nothing compares to the wonder of Dollywood during the holiday season. The annual Light the Way 5K is the perfect way to get into the Christmas spirit. It's returning for its 11th installment this year. This is a certified race, and it takes participants through the grounds of Dollywood on an extraordinary course illuminated by 6 million Christmas lights. The race will begin at 11 uh, p.m. on Friday, November 10th. Racers will be able to take in the festive scenery of the award winning Smoky Mountain Christmas Festival while running towards the finish line. Proceeds from this event keep Severe Beautiful and Share It Forward program at Dollywood.
I'm guessing Keep Severe Beautiful is like Sevierville, some sort of
Yeah,
cleanup.
Sevierville,
Yeah,
yes. It,
that's so it starts at 11 p.m. That's kind of cool. I'm guessing it's after the
that's
park
what it's,
closes.
yeah,
Yep, that's neat. I
yes.
love Dollywood. Dollywood during Christmas is just great. They did in their what's the theater? that's the big one. Uh, is it the Celebrity Theater? That's the really big one that they don't use very often? They had this,
Yeah,
like,
the big one.
religious Christmas show that was just awesome. It was, like, 45, 50 minutes long too. Really powerful and stuff. Really enjoyed that. I couldn't recommend Dollywood more during the Christmas season. You gotta ride their train during Christmas or else you're not really in the Christmas spirit, you know?
No, great train ride. Again, another, Dollywood, they just do it well,
Mhm.
during all their different seasonal events. And the Christmas event is no different there. But Ryan, that's a wrap on the latest industry news for this episode of the Attractions Group Pick Six.
Yeah. Well, thanks for listening, everybody. Again, we can be found on all your favorite podcast apps as well as visually on YouTube. And follow us on Twitter at attractions_GRP. If you want to find all this information, real simple, attractionsgrouppodcast.com. We'll see you next week, everybody.